Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nisala, and I'm from APIIT Candy Campus. Today, we have an honorable guest with us to guide you through this the new changing world, the artificial intelligence and its impact on the present day world. Right? So we know the artificial intelligence is something that is being very much hyped. Everybody is talking about it's the big thing, right? So people say it's the next thing. Some people believe it's going to be the salvation of humanity, and some people believe it's going to be the doom of the humanity. So we have Dr. Upendra, CEO of NlP. I would introduce him as a unique person. In a moment, I'll tell you why I'm saying this and why these things, why he's so special when it comes to the talk about artificial intelligence and all. Right? And Dr. Upendra, we warmly welcome you to APIIT, Asia Pacific Institute of Information Technology, the leading non-state university in Sri Lanka. We are blessed with good supporters, well-wishers, and the professionals and academics, brilliant characters like Dr. Upendra. They have taken part with us to give you some insights about the modern world and the world which is going to be tomorrow. So welcome all of you to APIIT webinar series, and Dr. Upendra, welcome. And thank you very much for joining with us today to share your insight and a piece of wonderful brain you have over there. If I explain who Dr. Upendra is, you know, this world is built up of different type of people. Usually when it comes to the education and the industry, we do have people who are engineers, who are expert in the industry. And we do have educators, philosophers who have learned up to the doctorate degree, the beautiful doctorate degrees, PhD holders. And it is very unrare where these two different domains get into unison in a country like ours. Right? So Dr. Upendra is a graduate, a master's in engineering, as well as his PhD in informatics and information systems. And he has an array of qualifications, both academic and professionals, and he's in a unique position to talk about IT. We do have people like him, but why we make him a special? What makes him a special is the former vice president of NlP and the honorable present CEO in NlP. So the junction, the rare junction between the industry expertness and the academic brilliance. We have Dr. Upendra with us, and we are going to talk about the artificial intelligence machine learning revolution and how this artificial intelligence is shaping up the present day world. And like everybody said, the artificial intelligence is about automation. Automation is all about taking people's job off. But is that really true? Isn't there are we going to lose jobs, or is artificial intelligence is going to create more white collar jobs? Rather than me asking these questions, rather than me trying to explain, I will invite the expert to talk about what is artificial intelligence and what sort of an impact it has on the jobs of the future. Dr. Upendra, welcome cordially to APIIT Candy Campus and the APIIT webinar series. Let's have you.
Hi, Nisala. Hi, everyone. Before we start, I just want to say good evening to everyone. And it's been an honor, and thank you very much for inviting me. I just wanted to thank for the entire team who's behind it from APIIT side, plus Nadana, who has been able to connect us in. And yeah, so Nisala, I'll try to put some context about the introduction that you made about AI and the related areas. So let me start sharing my presentation. I believe that you will all can see my screen.
We can see you, Doctor.
Right. Okay. So I decided, or at least I planned to discuss a bit more about going one step on the AI domain, which is about the carriers and how would be the future carriers of the artificial intelligence domain, and how it will look like in the future, and where, just like Nisala said, that whether we're going to lose or whether we're going to gain, or where we're going to be in between the balance. So that's what I thought about to explain to you today, on to the best of my ability. So my speech or the presentation is covered with 4 criteria. I thought about just to give a small context about what AI is, and then to speak about little bit about global applications, so where we globally, where AI has been placed until now, and an insight about the carriers which is coming throughout the domain of AI, and how each job profile would be created by extracting more highlighting points of each job profile, which is going to be created because of the AI integration. So that's what I thought to step in, and I'll try to be more least descriptive rather than getting into the details, because I think that we better focus on many more on the main areas. So what is AI? I getting into a general definition, I would say that AI is refers to the simulation of the human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans, basically to mimic the human actions into a digital format, and to exhibit the traits associated with the human mind, as an example, problem solving skills. In one end, it's about dreaming, or maybe looking forward and predicting the future and defining the future. These things are getting into a electronic format, is in general words called as AI. So transformation of the human mimics into a machinery level is considered as AI. So I'm not going to go into much more details, but because I'm sure that everyone is aware about what exactly AI stands for. So just to give a hint on the particular domain, rather we get into the technical parts or the technical conversations. Everyone knows, everyone use about these mobile assistant devices. It's like people who use an Apple phone, you know that Siri is already there, and Alexa, and there are certain developments called Pandora in Netflix, which provides personalized songs and entertainment recommendations based on the user's preferences. We all used to know that there are chatbots, regular chatbots now started to automatically reply or respond with certain information, or maybe certain limited information. And maybe you have been seen in many more videos in the internet about the robotic vacuum cleaners, small scale applications that basically work in a particular defined context by itself, based on the defined scenarios. And all of us knows about in 90s that 90s or 80s that we used to see that Night Rider TV series, which has been started to get the interest of about self-driving vehicles, and now it become a reality that if you started to search, there are many more developments are happening under this particular domain to try and solve a problem of a context of having a self-driving vehicle. And then we have been upgraded from the biometrics to the facial recognition systems. And these are some of the applications or some of the general models which is getting used in the industry, in current applications, hardwares or softwares, or in systems. When you get into a building, there's a facial recognition system runs in. There is a assistance device which is on your mobile. There are certain things that you can control by your voice command. So these are like the initial or the basic levels of AI integrations into day-to-day devices or the appliances that we are using. So why we are using these models under the terms of AI is because there are certain plus points coming in, because it's always easy to quantify when you are having a defined structure. When you have a defined model, it is always easy to quantify. And basically AI has been proven itself as an improving process of the efficiency. Basically, as humans, when you started to compare humans against the AI models, we start to learn from our mistakes. So this is exactly something which is happening on the AI modeling as well. The AI will start to learn continuously with the experience that is getting, and what are the based on the facts that is getting in, the AI model start learning by itself. So that's another plus. And the third point that I can highlight is that it will reduce the human errors. It can be about, since that it is working on a defined pre-setted context, the ability of having a human error or ability of having an error would be way less. But when you started to compare an example of having a labor plus against a robot, we know exactly that, okay, labor, human labor might get basically the efficiency would have been reduced with the time, with the weather, with can be with other factors. The human labor might get less efficient, but when it compares to the automated or a robotic replacement, this will be about continuous efficiency maintenance, plus it is about and process improvement also in the future. So that's more or less about a context about the global applications which is currently evolved. So when it comes to carriers, just wanted to put a small idea about industry revolutions. As we know, like we are already within industry 4.0, and we are already stepping into 5.0. So even though we are at 4.0, we already started to speak about 5.0. In some cases, certain developments are already happening in order to facilitate industry 5.0. So I want to go back before the AI age, because times back we used to say that IT is the revolutionary step, and information technology basically start connecting the dots that we missed, and we used to have AI IT as an industry, because nowadays, but when you look at nowadays, IT is no longer an industry. IT already become a media. Basically, we don't see any industry getting function without information technology. You can start from defining number of industries that currently running in, can be healthcare, cyber, retail, construction, city planning, education, everything. Specifically along with the current pandemic situation, it has been enforced, basically pushed everyone to be digitized and to be on information technology driven platforms to be used. So the point that I'm adding is that IT is become a media to connect in, and the next step would be everything will be redefined in the information technology context with the pre-definition of AI. For an example, that the cybersecurity standards or the cybersecurity applications that we used to know until now will be replaced by AI-driven cybersecurity applications. The transportation models that we used to know, that we have displays, we know that there's a Google map or a different application that we can track the GPSs and the paths and everything. So this will be basically converted into an AI-driven model where the path will be defined and the vehicle will be also auto-driven. Education platform will be supported with many AI supporting facilities, like assistants who can support you, assistants who can do the research or do the searching or the references to a particular domain on your education platform. This will be coming into the education existing platforms. Manufacturing industry probably going to be completely changed from top to bottom, because the legacy of this brick and mortar business will be converted into automated environment, which is more or less about robotic arms, automated rollers, and basically about starting from the material gathering level until the product quality inspection. Everything will be run through an AI or an automated process. So likewise, what I try want to say is that whatever the industry that we are talking about, everything will be started to push into the context of AI. So where the digitalization is enabled, where the information technology platforms are enabled, without any doubt, AI would be coming into the picture. So the plus point that is going to be added in is there will be a huge opportunity, or maybe there would be huge opportunities will be created across all the industries. It can be health, it can be retail, it can be transportation, it can be about researching, it can be about cyber security. Almost all the industries will create thousands of opportunities that will be facilitating to the people who are into AI. So likewise, in the beginning, that as we heard that whether AI is going to replace certain jobs, I would say that AI will not replace jobs, but AI will replace repetitive tasks, the things that we do on daily basis, the things that we used to do in a certain time frame, the same things that we do time to time. So these points will be replaced by using AI, because why? There would be a defined context that we can convert it into an automated process. The number of opportunities that might create, that will be huge, because why? AI will basically enable an area that has not been discovered yet, or maybe that not have been considered as an intelligent process until now. This will be open up. So as far as I remember, I saw in some places that there is a possibility that we might lose about per annum in US, on monthly basis, US AI replacements or AI developments will push to lose about 75,000 jobs per month. And in parallel, it will create monthly about 200 to 300 job opportunities newly coming into the picture. So in one end, yes, we might have a replacement for all our repetitive tasks. And on the other end, it will be open up a whole new era, which has not been even discussed. So I wanted to touch certain areas when it comes to AI, because even if we started to use the domain saying artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence is a collective operation that covers from different areas. So I just put a ladder on my presentation, which is I can start with machine learning engineers, data scientists, AI data analyst, research scientists, big data engineers and architects, business development, business intelligence developers, AI product managers, robotic scientists, AI engineers, AI architectures, NLP engineers. So these are certain job profiles that you will see even nowadays in over the internet, or maybe in other job opportunities. But yet we will go one by one, and we'll start to learn that to get some insights about what they are exactly. So I just wanted to say that if you look at the Fortune 500 companies internationally, almost everyone is looking for AI engineers. Almost everyone is looking for AI related domain specialists who can basically create the future for them. So companies like Amazon, Walmart, Nike, Nvidia, Microsoft, all in all, almost all the companies, because even if you look at the list, some of the companies are not exactly tech companies. Companies like Uber, they are into different area, not into IT. But as you can see that all the industries will need artificial intelligence related professionals to drive this one towards for the future. So I would probably say that, or apart from other companies, or APIIT is also looking for AI professionals. So there's a huge opening within Sri Lanka and within globally that that the industry is looking for more and more professionals under this particular domain. So I will try to give a small insight about certain profiles which is coming under this particular domain. If we start with machine learning engineers is a person who is an IT focused research person who is building and designing self-running artificial intelligence systems. So just go with the definition. Basically, machine learning engineers. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Machine learning is the model that converts the understanding of the human behavior getting pushed to the machinery area. So I started to summarize certain information under each profile. And on the first point, you will see that what are the experience that we need to cover out to become a machine learning engineer. Basically, down the line, working as an image or a speech recognition, prevention on frauds, customer insights, risk management, working on these particular areas will be added advantage that you can get into the machine learning or machine learning context. And when it comes to the skills, working knowledge on machine learning, neural networks, algorithms, and deep learning, this will support you to upskill your academics and to start pushing into the particular machine learning engineering area. So mathematics, computer science, knowledge in languages like Java, Python, R, Scala, and Spark. So these are certain programming languages that is necessary to become a machine learning engineer. So if somebody started to get into these particular areas, basically this is something that you can start with as a maybe internship, maybe a trainee machine learning engineer to grow up your career. So I just put a small research. I did a small research on the current international context. Basically, machine learning engineers currently get paid an annual salary of 90,000 USD to 120,000. So it's quite of an amount that that is considered as one of the top demanded positions in the area of AI. So the second profile that I thought about is that, which is going more aligned, and is data scientist. Data is the key of all, because even if you start to develop an AI model or an AI algorithm, it is necessary to need to have data in order to train that particular model. So data scientist is someone who's an analytical expert who utilize their skills in both technology and social science to find trends and manage data. Basically, I would say in general terms, we used to know the statistical engineers or statistical analysts in nowadays. So I believe that this would be the next level of each statistical analyst and each statistical engineer. So contextual understanding, skepticism, and existing assumptions will basically needed to uncover the solution for business challenges in the AI context. So in order to gain experience, it is necessary to know or get knowledge on machine learning to become a data scientist. And it is as the skill sets, you need to have sound communication skills and analytical abilities in order to basically analyze data as much as you can. So academics, it's running through the mathematics and computer science, and knowledge of having languages like, just like I said on the machine learning area, Python, Scala, SQL, Spark, Hadoop, Pig, or Hive. These are some of the languages you will get better understanding when you started to do small researches on the Google. So these languages might be needed as the academics or the skills that you need to improve to become a data scientist. So part and parcel, you will see that the demand would be more or less the same, just like machine learning engineer. Data scientist is also considered as one of the highest demanded jobs internationally. So moving on, AI data analyst. So the main responsibilities of a AI data analyst includes procuring, preparing, cleansing, and modeling data using machine learning models and new data analytical models. And also AI data analyst is responsible for designing and creating data reports to help stakeholders to make better decisions. So when you have data, you know the difference in between data and information. So the pre-processing of the data to convert it to get, which can be used for an AI model, is one of the key responsibilities of an AI data analyst. So pre-processing of the data, in order to do that, there's an experience needed on data mining, data cleansing, and data interpretation. So this is one of the experience that has to be gained to become an AI data analyst. And then MS Excel regression models skills. This might help you to to become a AI data analyst and to help you to become an AI data analyst. When it comes to regression models, I just wanted to say regression model is about basically comparing data in between, try to find relations, anomalies, basically to identify or understand the relationship between different type of data, and doing comparisons in between the data is basically covered within the regression models. And in order to become a data analyst, I think the academics would follow on mathematics or scientists, statistics. These are the areas that need to be followed. And the fourth one is research scientists, specifically on AI researchers. So AI research explores new ways to create new systems or solving problems, while data scientists tweak and apply these systems in real world scenarios. So research scientists make sure that they will keep researching or finding more and more information or skill sets under the AI platform. And to become an AI research scientist, of course, the area of applied mathematics, statistics, deep learning, and machine learning experience is vital. And then when it comes to the skill set, data structures, natural language processing, and reinforcement learning is a skill set that you need to develop. So when it comes to reinforcement learning, basically reinforcement learning is the skills of problem solving and decision making. So reinforcement learning is one of the key factors that a research scientist should have under the AI domain. So on the academics, it still goes on the mathematics stream, computer science, algorithm design. And if you can see that AI research scientist is about the next step of AI. So the demand is way higher than any of the profiles that we have been followed until now. Big data engineer. So big data engineer is an information technology professional who's responsible for designing, building, testing, and maintaining complex data processing systems that work with large data sets. So data migration, data visualization, and mining should be basically few of the areas that he should have been to have as an experience. And when it comes to skill set, the field suitable for keen play with new technical tools. The people who have the passion and the ability of searching for new tools and techniques, this might be one of the key areas that you can become a big data engineer. So there are a number of new tools has been came down when it comes to big data analysis. You might heard of about Microsoft have their own big data related tools. You might be heard about Apache Storm. This is one of the tools that is getting used in much more developments when it comes to big data. And there are MongoDB, OpenRefine. There are many more tools that you can find out. So getting experience on these kind of tools would be one of the skills that you need to keep on becoming a big data engineer. So academics, still it goes on computer science, data structures, knowledge on certain programming languages of AI, Python, R, Java, Spark, and Hadoop. So this is something that a person who has an interest to become big data engineer, so he has to start working on this particular area. And the demand is still getting higher and higher because big data is going to be one of the next level trends, or the trends that is currently used in. So that's the demand is way higher. The sixth profile that I choose is a business intelligence developer. Basically, this is when you started to compare it along with all the profiles that we passed until now, this is less technical but more important. Because why? If you look at the key responsibility would be they recognize the different business trends by assessing complicated data sets. So they basically, a business intelligence developer is the one who basically recognize the business trends or the business need inside the data or inside the AI. So preparing and developing and on nutrition business intelligence solutions is one of the areas that he has to work with. And someone who aware about computer programming skills, data sets, consider as a good candidate to be an business intelligence developer. So academics, it's basically open up into different areas. It goes to computer science, mathematics, engineering. It can be about databases or people who have been able to work with a lot of data, can be someone who is into business intelligence development. AI project manager. So the person who runs a project manager, because if you started to compare this particular position along with a regular project manager that we used to know, can be on software, it can be on a different stream apart from IT or tech. But this particular person has to have more depth knowledge into the arena of AI. So if you look at the demand is way higher. But in general, AI product manager focusing using in artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning to enhance and improve, create and share products is something that an AI product manager need to have. Because one of the areas AI product against an AI development is that the gap in between converting a regular project into a product is called the productizing. So when you look at a certain AI related development or a regular software development, if you take it as a project, it still not be a product. Because why? When you take it to the people who actually want to use it, the people who actually want to to get hands-on experience on that one, basically you need to convert from the regular project into a product. So in order to convert this particular model, you need to have the information or the idea about the standards where the industry need. So this is about converting the aspect of the technical angle to a usability level. So this is where the AI product manager comes into the picture. So the next profile is the area of robotic scientist. So in one end, robotic would be the actual physical hardware that is getting governed by the AI that has been created by all the effort that put by all the profiles that we mentioned in the beginning. So hardware component to be aligned with the AI models that has been created is necessary, because when you have a physical representation of your AI model, that covers a lot of parts, especially on the areas like manufacturing and areas something like construction, and as I said in the beginning, autonomous driving. This is also something like the interpretation of the AI into the hardware. So this is something, a necessity that the AI ecosystem need to have a robotic scientist. A reduction in jobs may increase because of the robotic engineers and all, just like we said, but it will create more and more value and create more and more new areas when it comes to the AI revolution. So in order to become a robotic scientist, of course, the programming knowledge on robotics and the area of robotics and computer science and engineering need to be one of the key aspects. So AI engineer. So soon after the pandemic, or maybe even in the beginning before the pandemics, if you started to categorize the job demands globally, there's no doubt that healthcare or health-related jobs, or maybe becoming a doctor or a health facilitator, the demand is in the top of the list at the moment. But even if you look at number 2, number 3, number 4, this is completely getting acquired by the area of IT or digitization, or else data or AI. So AI engineer is considered to be one of the highest demand job at the moment, because we used to know that software engineering or software development is something that was on the similar category about few years back. But now basically everyone is pushing towards themselves to become an AI engineer instead of being a regular software engineer. So the IT experts whose mission is to develop an intelligence algorithm capable of learning, analyzing, and predicting future events. Their role is to create machines capable of reasoning like human brains. So just like I mentioned in the definition, converting human mimics to machinery is called AI. And AI engineer is one of the key persons who are driving this particular thing. Develop, test, and apply different models of AI and any kind of machine learning, data science, or basically about statistics, natural language processing, data analytics skills might push you or might give you an added advantage to become an AI engineer. The academic streams, data science, computer science, statistics, knowledge in Python, R, C++, basically about programming language knowledge will give you the base to become an AI engineer. So I believe that this will be the future demand. In most of the cases, companies like we mentioned in the beginning, not IT, basically non-IT companies or non-technological companies will also look for these profiles for these type of people to get used in order to improve their business or their operations. And AI architect. The role of an AI architect is vital on any AI or machine learning stand within a business. The AI architect is like the chief data scientist. So I take this as a point to say that, as per my knowledge, I believe that AI architect considered to be the highest level of the combination of AI and data science. So data and AI get combined and start to build architectures or start to build the models or the wireframes that people can reuse and the systems can reuse will be basically covered by AI architects. So choosing the right technologies and evaluating the evaluation of the architecture as per the requirements is one of the key areas where an AI architect should focus on. So when it comes to the experience, implementations of machine learning solutions, doing solutions of development in multiple languages, programming languages, and conducting accurate statistical analysis would be one of the key skills or the key experiences where an AI architect need to have. When it comes to the skills, heavily technical knowledge and experience on project management, basically on AI project management, problem solving, and communication skills would be added advantages for someone to become an AI architect. And when it comes to the academics, we are talking about, again, on the same stream, computer science, data science, and AI related discipline. So when it comes to demand, as you started to compare all the profiles that we spoke until now, basically AI architect considered to be the top of the ladder on this particular pillar. So as I said, like we spoke about few profiles. So these are certain areas that will create more and more opportunities for students or for the people who are having a passion on technology, who can move on the IT ladder and start defining themselves whether I want to be a machine learning engineer, whether I want to be a data scientist, whether I want to be a data analyst, or maybe I want to be a research person, maybe I want to be a project manager on this particular area, or maybe I would be the business intelligence developer who connect the platform in between data and AI, or become a product manager who will run the productizing process in order to convert a base level AI algorithms or projects into products that can be used as a support for the mankind. And whether I can be an AI engineer, or maybe I can be the AI architect who would basically define the usability of data and AI. So it's up to you to see that where your passion is, where to put yourself, and see that which profile that I need to work on and I need to start learning on day-to-day basis, and what are the skills that I need to develop to get into this area. As you can see that when you started to compare all these mentioned profiles, there are way similarities when it comes to the academics or the areas that you need to learn or to upgrade your skills, because all of these are part of the same operation, same model of defining artificial intelligence into several or number of business industries. So the last one that I have to cover up is the NLP engineers. NLP engineers basically create devices, systems that can understand the human language, because this is where the point comes in, or the differentiation comes in. Because as we know, like we have different languages, we use different languages, we are from different ethnicities, different religions, and different countries. So all this has their own different way of communication. But when it comes to the machinery, we need to find a way of a common model that we can convert different type of human communications to be understood by the same set of machinery. So this particular process is basically what NLP is covering, and basically an NLP engineer need to work and understand the relationship between the structures and analyze how the structural pieces work together to create a meaning to be captured by the machines. So deal with academic work, including research, mathematics, and deep learning would be the experience that he need to cover, and the skills need to be statistical analysis, machine learning methods, and text representation techniques. The areas of the academics, data science, mathematics, and again the programming languages. And if you started to compare the same, just like we saw it on AI architecture and AI engineer, natural language processing engineers also have a higher demand in the industry. So I believe that I have been able to cover about 11 different areas of profiling under the AI domain. So I invite you all to speed up your academics and gain more experience and do more researches on the area. Just to put a small context before I close down, as you know, like we spoke about whether AI is going to enslave or whether AI is going to upgrade. I think we cannot say that whether it is good or bad, because whatever we're going to get, it always carries equal portion of benefits and equal portion of the things that we lose. So AI is likely to be either the best or the worst thing to be happen for the humanity. So we have seen all these movies about the Terminator and enslaving the mankind and all these things. So maybe probably we are driving towards this, or maybe probably we are driving towards on the other way, that our lives would be much easier and our lives would be much more facilitated, and this environment would be much more connected, and we might be able to solve many issues or many problems that we have not been able to cover up until now by using AI in the future. So I'll keep it as a question mark. Maybe it will be the best thing yet to be happen, or maybe the worst thing that could be happen in the future. So thank you very much. I think I would have been able to cover as much as I can. And thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for being with me until complete my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. If you can spare a few more minutes, we do have some questions. We have channeled through few of the many of the channels, Doctor.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Actually, when I was introducing you, I did not mention something that should have been mentioned at the first place. Like you are a part of many of the information technology key institution in Sri Lanka, ICTA/COM and FITIS, and whatever you name it, you have an involvement all over the place, right? And yes, your latest appointment to the Forbes Technological Council, what's up with that? I guess we would like to know what Forbes Technological Council and what sort of a contribution they make.
Okay, so Forbes Technological Council is a team, a high-level team getting appointed from different countries on different technologies, and it's a global community getting appointed based on the work and the contribution that they do to the industry. So I'm lucky enough to be one of the representatives from Sri Lanka, because as far as I remember, there were 3 representatives were appointed from Sri Lanka to the Forbes Council. So one of the key things that Forbes teams is doing is that we work a lot on IT related policies and new trends, and we started to share more brainstorming and more initiatives to work together, because it's going to cover about different sectors. Like it can be AI that where I'm going to represent. There would be someone who's representing big data. There would be someone who's representing about industry automation. So we basically collaborate and start to define and start working collaboratively about defining the policies and defining the initiatives that can be trend out in the future. So that's what Forbes is doing.
Basically, the SIP is sailing toward the future, and you honorable professionals, the Forbes technical, the members of these councils, you are steering our ship into the future. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so I'm one of the people who's representing Sri Lanka. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So we are lucky to have you. And second question, right? So we do have this all examples coming from international, like the work the Google is doing, the work the Amazon is doing, the Alexa and everything. What's up with Sri Lanka? Where are we? Have we done anything that is flagship in AI breakthrough?
Okay. Since that you said flagship, I think there's a huge question mark to everyone on the industry who's dealing with this particular domain in locally. As far as I know, that we have not created such kind of an international flagship AI development until now as a product, right? So as a product, we have not been able to publish until now. But if you look at individually, each person is doing far major support or facilitations to the international AI development or AI arena. So I can't get into more details, but what I can say is that there are companies who work with Google on the AI domain. There are companies who work with big 5 companies like Facebook to Google to Intel, Apple, all these companies to basically redefine and work with them on AI related developments. So Sri Lanka is already there. It's not that we are not in the system. We are already in the ecosystem. We are already facilitating. We are already pushing our knowledge to basically recreate the international AI domain that we are currently doing in. But yes, we have a missing part that we have not been able to make a flagship AI API for Sri Lanka until now. But I'd be happy to say that a company like us or LIT, we are already working with the top Fortune 500 companies in order to shape up AI internationally.
That's wonderful news to hear, right? So basically, even though we don't have our own product on the market, we have our share of contribution. We as Sri Lankans, we have our own contribution to what's going on in the world. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Right. So the next question, these AI and machine learning, is this thing expensive? I mean, getting into machine learning and artificial intelligence as a student, can we afford whatever the things needed? Do the schools or the universities in Sri Lanka are readily equipped to push the next generation toward what they should be? Are we competitive in the educational infrastructure building such AI and machine learning knowledge?
Okay, I would say that we are already initiated. That's what I can say, because in recent we got few opportunities to get involved with few universities, state and private institutions, to support to recreate their curriculum on particular domains. So happy to say that certain universities already started to deal with data science related academic programs, and state universities already started working on AI related academic programs. So I think we are already getting into the area. Maybe we are a bit late on the process, but I think we are on the high time, that almost all the universities that we have been able to deal with as a company, that we started to know that all these education institutes already started to do the groundwork and already started to gather the relevant industry experience, plus academic experts from different countries and different regions, in order to enhance the AI arena in Sri Lanka. So we have started, and I'm sure that with the right support from the government, and more than the government, from the industry, we might be able to shape up and make the readiness for the future. And I don't think that it will be an issue of affordability. There's no doubt about that one, because as if you started to look at the profiling that we run through the presentation, each profiling carries out the current learnings that we are running in when it's come to software development, programming language knowledge, statistics and everything. So these are currently running within our institution. So it would be the base to get into the domain, and then I don't see there's an affordability issue that we need to go through.
Right, doctor. So the universities are getting in, the private institutions are getting into the game, and you gentlemen, your industries, the big companies are already there. So we can look for a beautiful future about, we can actually have hopes about truly Sri Lankan AI related products in the future. That's we have good vibes, I guess.
Yeah,
right. The next
sure.
question, right. Now I have been going through all the 11 profiles, and this question actually coming from me, right? So I've done the little bit of a math saying, you said the top profile is getting 220,000 US dollar annual salary, and I did the math like, a dollar is about 240 rupees Sri Lankan, and I did the simple math, and I figured out that would be about 4.5 million Sri Lankan rupees a month salary. Is that real? This would be bigger salary than, if you consider our young generations, the people, the young students who are looking at this presentation right now with us today, right? So this salary for month would be more than what their parents earned during a decade or maybe entire lifetime. So is this real?
Course. No doubt. I don't think that we can, I don't think that I need to reconfirm the thing, because everybody can have the access that they can go and start looking for it, because that's where the demand stands for the right person. Because as I said, Nisala, we talked about almost all the industries in the world, right? It's not about only IT as an industry, it's about everything that we are following through, from retail to construction to education, fashion, entertainment, any industry. You name the industry, AI is already inside there. Data is already inside there. So the relevancy of getting related experts into that particular domain is a necessity for the future. So the right demand is there. So if you started to get a small example, if we are talking about a competition in between two giant companies, right? So we can name number of people, number of companies, number of brand names. So everyone looks what they can do far than the other person. So if both of the competitors are in a really high level situation, so they need to get the best people in order to convert this model. So I don't think that it's a waste of paying that amount, and that is the demand that the industry need. And yeah, it's real. There's no doubt about that one.
I believe these people, the young crowd, should hightail into the AI industry. I mean, this is the dream coming true, right? Okay, two more questions. I will be very quick about it. Doctor, when we go through the profiles, the 11 profiles you presented today, and all of these job profiles, the very high paying job profiles, they are white collar jobs. We say you sit in front of the office. And so is that the knowledge society that we are talking about, the place for the muscle is being replaced by the robots, and the place for the mind is being opened up? Is that what we are looking at in the future?
Of course. Basically, the entire idea of AI, as per my understanding, I believe that it's not about basically losing jobs or maybe replacing jobs. It might be about diverting people from one level to the other, as you said, that divert the people for the white collar jobs. So I don't think that in the future, with the things that we see, we might not need the muscles, but we might need more brains to run the system.
Absolutely right. So here it is, dear students and gentlemen and ladies, right? So the brains is what we have the demand for in the future. It's the brain that we are looking for, right? So the world will always have enough opportunities for beautiful and creative minds. One last question from my end. So you are researching and developing different techniques, machine learning and algorithms. Will you be replacing us, the lecturers? Hard call question.
Yeah, it's a hard call, but let's say if I speak from my mind, I don't think that it can be. I don't think that it can be done, because what we are missing in here is that lecturing is something that will speak to the heart. So I don't think that it can be replaceable by putting a robot or maybe someone who's running on a speech engine. I don't think that it might be able to do. But if you're talking about passing the information to the people, yes, it can be done. But teaching is something different. So even if you look at the current AI developments or machine learning developments, whatever it is, you name it, but all these are running through training programs. So one of the biggest training programs that even we do, we have about few thousands of people. They basically train the AI systems. So it cannot be done fully automated model. It has to be done by someone who has the brain and who has the idea, who can basically speak. It can be for another human and it can be for another machine as well. So learning, as per my understanding, I don't think that the actual learning can be replaced.
Yeah. So again, going back, right? It's the brain, but the brain has to be accompanied by a beautiful heart. Otherwise, maybe the pure brain might be able to replace by the AI, but brain accompanied with the heart, that is only truly human characteristic. So dear doctor, thank you very much for spending time with us today. That's wonderful insight about the jobs. Even we learned something new about the job profiles, and it was inspirational. I mean, a lot of people talks about AI and there are jobs, and what exactly are the jobs and how you are getting into that. That is very much informative, and we learned what need to be, how you should be starting. For an example, if you want to be an AI data analyst, you have to start with the Python, R, and it was very clear and beautiful. Dr. Upendra, thank you very much for sparing 1 hour of your busy time schedule. I think your involvements are all over the place and all over the world, and with such a busy schedule, thank you very much for joining with us today to enlighten these beautiful young minds. So our students are our future. They are the one who will be pushing our beautiful country to the place that we could not do in our lifetime. So thank you very much for this contribution and joining with us and sharing your valuable knowledge. And we cordially invite you to take part with us and spend your time more and more with our students, educating them, passing a piece of that brilliant, beautiful mind into the next generation, inspiring them. At the same time, thank you very much for these participants who are actually inspired and who really wanted to know about what you have, what you can have in the future, and what does your future going to look like, right? Students, dear participants, the world is transforming. I remember when I was a kid, my parents' world is totally different to the world that I'm living in, right? And the world that you will be living in will be totally different to what we are living in. Like Dr. Upendra says, we still don't know whether the AI is going to be the greatest blessing or the greatest nightmare. We don't know it's the angel or the boogeyman, right? But whatever it's going to be, I believe if our hearts are right in the right place, if we do the right thing, we can make it our companion, and we can use it to betterment of our life as well as the betterment of the entire humanity. And thank you very much for the participants for joining in, and stay with us, join with us for more webinars coming in. We do more and more webinars. Like every week, we have something to offer you with these brilliant industry professionals, brilliant academics. They're coming and joining and sharing their the insights. And the last note, thank you, APIIT team, for organizing this wonderful thing. Nadana, Kanishka, Anuttara, and everybody who helped us set this thing up, and especially Nadana for introducing us to Dr. Upendra, this wonderful profile, who's into both academic as well as professions. Thank you very much. We wish you a nice evening, and go out there, do your own research. Might be the data science and AI will be the future you are looking for. That could be the key that unlock your future. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.